want to see that. We are missing several people. Where's everybody? I see Alexander. So you're working. All right, my bad. No Declan. No Thomas. He's here. Karen's late. No Crespo.
I would say everyone's bagging in from after the FTXs, but
After what? Oh, field training?
yeah, but they're all DNC, so
Is field training hard?
The 4-day one's pretty good from what I've heard.
Okay, how are we doing? Last week, rough week for the Corps? You guys doing okay? Everybody not? Or is there anything we want to talk about?
my undying joy or something.
Huh?
My undying joy or something.
Man dying, what?
What?
So strange.
You're talking about last week's class?
No, I'm talking, well, that's part of it, but the consolidation of outfits.
It's not consolidation, they're gonna disband it.
They have the opportunity to come back.
It's shotgunning.
Why?
Well, consolidate would imply that things come together, right? Not you take a group and go. Psh.
Consolidation is shrinking.
No, they're splitting our people up again into whatever outfits they pretty much feel like.
Yeah. If they were merging into a singular.
Yeah, because
outfit,
they're
it'd be
smaller,
consolidate.
right? All four of those outfits were smaller and shrink, and the Corps is shrinking. Like we're down below 2,000.
Oh.
Okay, and this is it's COVID related. Okay, there are reasons. Okay, and those outfits can come back, right? But it is, I understand it's challenging or upsetting, especially if you're in those outfits, right? So what should be done about it? I mean, what are you doing to help those individuals or those outfits or your own outfit? Or are you? You look confused. What should be done? What should you do to help?
I feel like it's hard to say like what should be done about like the number of the core scene. Because I was thinking about it over like the past few years. We've had I don't know X amount of fish punch. I would say that maybe one or two is because of PT or core is to hard related reasons. Like 3 of them were financial reasons. One of them was a really close family member died like 2 days before FOW, so it's just the stress of that.
Sure.
And school, that they were too much for that. We've had 4 people punch because of financial reasons. We had someone punch last year because it was too easy and they wanted to go straight into the army. So, I mean.
But almost 40% of those outfits was the attrition rate. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
And I feel like I just feel like it's hard to, like, as an upperclassman, and someone comes to you and says, "I'm punching because I cannot financially afford to be in the Corps." It's hard to be like, "Oh, well, let me help give you $2,000 or anything like that," because we don't have that money available. So, I mean.
But there is financial aid and there's scholarships and there's emergency funds.
Well,
I mean, there's things you can do to help students
Yeah,
with
one of the
finances.
fish that punched last year actually like talked to Colonel Hollis and talked to the people in charge of scholarships, and they kind of said that they can't really help the person, and so the person had to leave anyway.
Okay, so financial assistance aside, what are you doing to help those outfits, the people in those outfits, or your own outfit, so that it doesn't happen again?
I think.
Caleb?
I mean, I was kind of honest with, like, after that meeting, like, kind of honest with a couple people in our outfit that, you know, they basically ended that meeting with saying that this could happen again next year, depending on, like, how next year goes, and that
Yeah.
we basically just need to be prepared that, you know, there's more outfits that could be on the chopping block. And then going back and looking at it, like, we're the smallest outfit out of the 6 in our major unit. And so just making sure people realize that, like, you know, we missed it this year, but, like, that doesn't mean that we are
Yes.
from it next year. And so not sugarcoating it, but being like, hey, like, this could happen. So, like, let's be aware of that going into next year kind of thing.
So if you have a smaller outfit, would it make sense to try to bring some of those people into yours?
So,
And the
Hold on.
people that got disbanded, no, not to ours, but that's.
Why not?
The
no,
bands.
over the band.
No one's gonna go to the bands. Like,
Oh,
that's-
you're in band.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, it's not gonna happen.
My Hold on, because I have a buddy who was in the band. I think he could play 3 notes on the trumpet. He was only in the band so he could go to football games, away games in particular, for free, right? He could march, couldn't play, okay? But, so he made it. So maybe, okay, we could teach him how. What do you got?
So, as far as I understand the policy, when all of this happened, we went back and had a very thoughtful conversation with all of our upperclassmen because we knew it wasn't, we've got a lot of tight connections with some of the H1 guys, and we wanted to give them the opportunity to come over.
Good.
We like planned out how we were gonna give them leadership opportunities and all like, we came up with some really good plans, like help them make that transition. The Corps went to all those outfits and said, for the junior class, you can only go to one of, and they gave them like 3 outfits out of everything. There's no like choices that like you can't bring them anywhere. So the H1 people were told like, hey,
That's not what I've heard.
No, I
No,
literally
that's what's
received
happening.
a list from my
Yeah.
CTO. It has broken up by class, the outfits that they can go to, and the number of
Right,
hours assigned to each
cadets.
outfit.
So
That's
it's,
why they disbanded it, because there's certain outfits that are at risk of being disbanded because
Sure.
they're so small.
Sure.
So they're like, well, you might, have potential for leadership or like good cohesion with this outfit, but like you can only go to this one because this is what we have you assign. That's kind of how they're doing.
All they're
this.
doing is balancing a spreadsheet.
yeah.
yeah,
No,
which you have to do,
we can't
right?
recruit them.
But, okay, interesting. Kennedy?
That's the same thing that happened last year with transfers.
Uh-huh.
So for the spring class year, we were going to brought up to class 23. You were given a set list of 4
Where you could go.
outfits. Yeah, we were not even, it was 3.
Okay.
I think those outfits are still on the list, but now one being removed.
Okay. James?
I was just gonna say that that's everything I've heard. My outfit's actually getting from C1 one of the disbanded outfits. Our first sergeant next year will be from that outfit.
Okay.
But that's not because he chose to, that's because he went out for the position of first sergeant.
Okay.
So I mean,
Makes sense.
talking about sort of stuff like
So
that.
he's willing to go to other outfits anyway.
Yeah, well, he already was, and I've sort of started talking to him since
Which
he's
is
been
rare.
first sergeant now, and be like, hey,
Yeah. Okay.
you're in charge of this. Sorry, it wasn't your outfit.
So I bring it up because, and we'll talk about it today, but you should be concerned for your outfit, right? Like what, so if it's small, are you recruiting? Are you helping recruit? Right? Are you finding out ways, can we get transfers in? Can we bring other people in? You should be working on that, Justin.
My problem was attempting to determine what to tell mine in regards to that, right? Like, so 4 and H1, 4 produced like multiple mucks and sergeant majors. Okay, so they were super high performing, had good PT scores, were well awarded last year. Obviously that wasn't enough. H1 had a higher fish retention rate last year than the rest of the Corps' average.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like they were actually above average in retention, and that still wasn't enough. So I would tell my outfit to recruit more people or perform better, but that's obviously not the factor.
From what I heard,
It can be, right? So just because you retain more doesn't mean they had more. So if they retain 5, right, but another outfit had 20, but greater attrition, right, you see how the numbers can change. Now, I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that can all factor in.
We were also assigned fewer fish and given no transfers.
Okay. Yeah, so again, they're diminishing numbers. Like pre-COVID, we were at about 2,500. Right now we're at like 1940 and change, right? So hopefully the good opportunity that you have here is they are currently interviewing for a new commandant and for a new head recruiter. So now here's what happens with change, and I will tell you this from experience in work. You finally get rid of the boss that you don't like. You're like, yes, okay, finally, all right? Now, I have no idea where you stand with the commandant except for Wes, okay? And I don't care, right? But it doesn't mean it will get better, okay? It can get worse. Now, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that's not what happens. You hope that it improves. But those are 2 rather important positions for the future of the Corps. The other positive that you have is General Ramirez is still here. All right. Now, again, I don't know or care how you feel about him, but he cares deeply about the Corps and growing it, and he has support from the president. Right. They want to grow the number of cadets that we have by quite a bit. Right. So at least there's support from up top. Right. How you get there is the challenge. We'll talk about that today. So let's pick up where we left off last week. Okay. And it's relevant because you guys talked about certain things, right? Which is good, but it made it very clear that we're missing something. Right, so we'll get into that. So finish up what I was trying to cover last week quickly, and then we'll jump in to something else that I hope will help you. Okay, so after college, I hate to tell you this, you still have to work on you. You still have to develop, right? Personally, professionally, all that good stuff. How will you continue to do that after school? How will you continue to develop yourself? One at a time. What do you got? Huh?
Graduate school.
Huh?
Graduate school.
Okay, cool. Gonna go to graduate school. Yeah, want to be a doctor, right? You got some work to do. Okay? God bless you. All right. What else? Josh?
By surrounding yourself with people that make you better.
Okay, yeah, good, good. I'll take it. What else? Yep.
Like on that, just putting yourself in a situation where you're always learning, like not.
How you gonna do that?
Well, like whenever you get like your job or wherever you're at afterwards, just don't put yourself in a position where you stay stagnant. Always like find a mentor, find someone that you can always
Yes.
like try to reach their level and keep on going. So you're always having something to develop yourself. You can look for.
Good. How are you gonna do that at work?
I guess just try to find like either books to increase your knowledge, or if you can like find a mentor, someone there that's kind of like not just go to your job and sit there and just do your job, but kind of like connect with other people, see who might have a little more experience or knowledge, and you do,
Yeah.
and make yourself their friend so you can learn from them.
Good, good. What else? Caitlin?
I guess kind of touching on what he said, like, don't stay stagnant, but also, like, everyone tends to get so wrapped up in, like, school and life, like, every now and then, like, I find it helpful to remind myself, like, how short life really is, and so, if you can have an opportunity to, like, go spend some time with family, or, like, have a little break, like, a lot of us
Good.
are like, oh no, I have to prep for the MCAT, I have to, go work out, like, yes, you do, but also, like, you gotta give yourself a break every now and then.
Yes.
Because that'll probably do more than you realize to develop your like physical and mental well-being. And like, I have to go get this done. It's like, no, let yourself breathe for a second.
Yep, I would agree 100%. We'll touch a little more on that. Okay. Here's the hard part. Okay. When you're continuing to do this, how will you do it and remain true to yourself? How will you remain authentic? Because we can get a shitty mentor, right? Or they're gonna use you, right? Unfortunately, this happens. I've seen it. It sucks. You'll work with someone you think actually cares about you, and they will throw you under the bus at the opportunity to save their own neck sometimes. Okay. Hope that doesn't happen. It's really important to have a good mentor or somebody you can trust, right, to bring you along. But you need to be careful. So how do you do this and remain true to yourself?
I guess just kind of figuring out like where the line is between like standing up for yourself and also like kind of sucking up to your boss so that you can kind of like work with them, like find a middle ground. Like for example, I was working at Lowe's last summer, and me and my like foreman, we had a pretty good relationship, and he was kind of my mentor there. But he started to realize that like our relationship, like he started to cut down on my hours and like kind of give me the crappier jobs just because he knew that I wouldn't really complain, and eventually I had to like draw the line and be like, look, I'm a full-time employee and you're giving me like less than 30 hours a week, and like I'm not doing these like new guy jobs anymore, and I kind of had to stand up for myself.
Yeah, good, absolutely. Okay. I don't think I talked about it. I mentioned it in another class. Stop me if I'm repeating myself. But a friend of mine was working at a company, and his peers started getting paid more than him, and he had no idea. He's a hard worker, he's a good dude, but he's shy, and he's kind of an introvert, and he's quiet. And he finally was like, he was like, you guys need to, why aren't you paying me more? And they were like, we're not going to wake a sleeping dog. Like, they're not going to pay you more if they don't have to. They're going to try to get away with it. So he left and took another job, and actually ended up coming back a couple years later. They rehired him because they really liked him. But because he didn't advocate for himself, they were not going to pay him anymore. Right? So, useful tool. Yeah. Leadership is not about what you have to do, it's about what you choose to do in order to help others. Anybody know who said that? Or guesses? Trent, you got a guess? Anybody?
Mao Zedong.
Huh? Who'd you say? Who? Gandhi? Okay, Karen, what'd you say? Abraham Lincoln? Same quality person.
As Mao?
might be taller than Mal. I'm not taller than Abe, that's for sure. Every semester that I have taught SOMS with you, which is multiple for some of you, I've asked you on the first day of class what your definition of leadership is. And you usually stare at me blankly. And then I see you the next semester, and I ask you the same shit. And you stare at me blankly. Stop it.
You're gonna see us next semester.
Yes, and I'm going to ask you what your definition of leadership is. For the love of God, have one. Please. You're killing me. Okay? You get to 42. I swear to God. Okay? No. Here's why this is mine. Okay? I ask you about leadership, and most of you give a generalized kind of textbook dictionary answer of motivating people to accomplish a common goal or something along those lines. Fair enough. Okay? When I finished basic training for the Air Force, you go to tech school. Okay? It was in Wichita Falls, Texas. Gorgeous, right? Is that where that's home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, such a nice place. Okay. But you're on Air Force Base, you can't really leave. It's kind of like what you guys deal with here on restricted weekends, basically. And when people would leave, they'd go spend all their money and get terrible tattoos. Okay. Sound familiar? So I get to tech school, and this is where you finally get a little bit of rank, right? You're done with basic training. If you have a degree and stuff like that, you get a little bit of rank or different things you've done. And I'm at tech school, and there's this dude that the equivalent of the CTO's like put in charge. Okay, now he's an airman and he's young, and he's getting kicked out of the Air Force because he has a heart condition, and they didn't find it beforehand. Usually they check you before you go to basic. They check you at to get basic. Well, they found it right after, and he's getting removed from the Air Force. And with the little bit of rank that he has, he is just abusing his power. Okay, and he's a little tiny twerp. I mean, just a punchable face, right? Horrible voice, this high pitch. I can hear it still, right? Couldn't stand the guy, right? And I'm watching him give orders because the military training leaders ask him to, right? They're trying to let him finish out his time as he's getting out processed, right? And they felt bad that he was getting out processed, as you would, okay? That sucks to come this far and get booted. But he's just harping at people. And I'm looking at him, and I'm going, that's not how you have to give orders. That is how you are choosing to give orders. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Okay? Just because you are in charge, right? Or you have to pass along information, or you're asking fish to do something, how you do it matters. To me. Hence my definition of leadership. Okay. It's never cooperates.
Words and language.
Come on.
Words and language. No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. Now see that look in Mr. Pitt's eye? Like 19th century literature has nothing to do with going to business school or medical school, right? Maybe. Mr. Hopkins, you may agree with him, thinking, yes, we should simply study our Mr. Pritchard and learn our rhyme and meter and go quietly about the business of achieving other ambitions. A little secret for you. Huddle up. Huddle up! We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "O me, O life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, O me, O life?" Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be?
Why would I show you that?
That's the homework this week, right?
Dead Poet Society, yeah, if you haven't seen it. Came out like 1989. Saw it when I was 10 years old. Made me want to be a teacher. Took me a while. Why would I show you that? Rest in peace, Robin Williams. What does that have to do with it?
Leadership, poetry, do the thing.
Not always, okay, but I'll take it. Why would I show you that? What did you get out of that, Caitlin?
I mean, just like leadership classes, like some people have like the opinion that leadership classes are just like a requirement, not anything beneficial. Just like a lot of people think poetry is really superficial and like a waste of time. But if you choose to look at it in the right light, it's justification for, if you want to have a voice in this life, you can. And if you just think that you're not going to make a difference, then you're right, you're not going to. But if you try to, and you have the right mindset about it, then you will.
Excellent. Take it. Good. What else? What do you got?
Kind of the same, man.
Ditto? Is that all right?
Well, no, just a little bit. Kind of what he basically did there, the way he taught them, was exactly your definition. He, like at the very beginning, he said, I could just get up and we could just read the thing, you could do the assignment, we could move on and go on to other things. But we're going to pay attention. We're going to do this thing differently. He was choosing to, rather than do the status quo of what a teacher has to do, he was choosing to help these kids get passionate about this thing.
Yeah, excellent. Great. What else? It's kind of almost to what Caitlin was talking about earlier. Okay. Yeah, you go into school, you want to get your degree, and you're going to get a job. But there's more to life than that. Right? We have to find a balance and contribute. Right? How many of you think you're a terrible cadet? Did you raise your hand, Justin?
He was given a single demerit once. I've seen it. It was terrible.
Okay. But that's okay, right? If you're freaking trying, right? If you're just trying, then you're doing better. Right? If you're like, I know I'm a bag, but damn it, I'm gonna have one good day, all right, this month or this year or whatever. If you're at least trying, then you're doing better, right? And there's more to life than the core, or your degree, right, or whatever else, right? It all goes together, but you got to put in effort. You have to put in effort, right? Another movie, Sixth Sense. We're seeing, spoiler alert. He's only like 25 years old. He was dead the whole time. Why did he go to work? So stupid. What a waste of time. Thanks.
So many questions.
I thought that was funny. Nobody laughed. What do you got, Josh? Questions about what?
I have so many questions about like how much time passed and how long you went on with nobody interacting.
Right, it's creepy, yeah. Once you figure out the ending, then you have to go back and watch it again, okay? The book talks about mirroring. What is mirroring?
Copying.
Copying who?
People around you.
People around you. Why do we do that?
Fit in.
To fit in, okay? Or, what else? Justification for what?
Any of our actions.
Okay, give me an example.
Smoking.
My roommate didn't make his bed this morning, so I had to make my bed because it's okay.
Okay, did that happen this morning?
No.
Okay.
But it happens sometimes.
Good. What'd you say? Smoking?
Smoking.
Okay, good. I'll take it. Yeah, so it can be bad, right? Did any of you in high school have like a friend? Maybe it was you. Okay. I'm picking on Trent just to make sure he's awake this morning. Okay. Did any of you have friends in high school and your parents were like, why do you hang out with them? Your parents didn't like them? No, then it was you, James. It was definitely you.
I know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because you start acting like them. Right? Now, hopefully you find the good ones. Hopefully you get a good mentor, a good person, or good people to hang out with. Or some of you touched on it in your discussion post. Your outfit rose to the occasion. Instead of being pulled down, right, you respond to the opposite way. Be aware of that, because you'll start copying. You ever see like a buddy of yours? They start dating somebody, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and they start acting like them. You're like, dude, what are you doing? Okay.
They were already too similar to begin with.
Yeah, okay, it's terrible, all right? Guess what? You do it too. You do it too, all right? Just don't become the cliche, all right? This is hard, and I'm genuinely serious. This is hard. Have the confidence to think for yourself regardless of judgment. Most people don't. All right, now when you guys discuss leadership or when you interview for positions in the Corps or whatever, even in your job interviews, you'd be like, well, it's who you are when nobody's looking. Bullshit. It's who you are when everybody is looking. When everybody sees you, when everybody is watching you, do you have the courage to do the right thing? Even if it's hard. Okay, that was last week. Good questions? I hate when it doesn't do the full screen thing. Yeah.
Seems like clickbait.
Yeah, it is. Okay, read those. If you can. Move around if you can't see. Showing up very well at all. Probably not.
We were so close.
Good? Got them all? Good? All right, we'll get a little more current. Here's some more. Pretty good, right? These are some pretty intelligent people, most of them. Are they accurate?
I mean, some of them are a little biased.
Yeah, the Thomas Edison one is biased as well.
Well, Thomas Edison was a giant asshole if you want to get into him.
Well, I think he also was pushing for DC power.
Yeah, right, yeah. So Thomas was a problem. Okay, but you got the CTO and co-founder of YouTube saying there's not that many videos I want to watch. Right? Huh?
We've always been honest. We've also got Microsoft commenting on Apple. That's not biased at all.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I get the bias. Just because, and this is what happens. Our own bias clouds our judgment. Were they wrong? They were dead wrong, right? Okay. So, here's what we're going to look at. There's an engineer in 1900, and he made a whole bunch of predictions. Okay? And I want to see what you guys think about how accurate he was. He made these predictions in 1900, and he said in 100 years these things will be true. All right? Is he right?
Kind of.
Are we taller? Not everybody. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm the tallest one in my family. Okay. All right. That's kind of sad. All right. Are we on average taller?
Yes.
Why? Do we know why? Nutrition. Availability of food and how much and all the stuff we ate. Okay. Express trains. Can we go 150 miles an hour? Yep, much faster, not a problem. Ready cooked meals, we got that, right? Okay. We'll see around the world, persons and things will be brought within focus, cameras connected electronically, with screens at opposite ends, circuits, thousands of miles of span. Yeah, what's he talking about there?
Google Earth.
Internet, I would, anything, web-based, I would say. Okay. Yeah, pretty accurate. Huge forts on wheels, what do we think? Tanks, that's what I think of, but yeah, my truck, it's humongous, okay? Wife makes fun of me. What'd you say, Josh?
So yeah, this is the way.
Yeah, right. Like big ass SUVs. Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right. Here's some more that he made. How's he doing?
It's a pretty big ballpark estimate though.
Yeah, and he's a little high, right? But not off by much. Okay. We're at like 330 million, right? So a little bit less.
We don't know about the last one, that's like next generation, 200 years.
Well, strawberries, you realize strawberries were like this big. Strawberries were like size of raspberry. Now you can get strawberries that are like this big. So he's accurate there. Okay. What else?
Anyone unable to walk 10 miles in a straight line.
That's the one that holds everybody up. Okay. Is he right there?
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Well, it always depends, right? Yeah. That's the one. I think maybe we're regressing there. Like we reached it. We were definitely there, and now it's like have you seen the movie Wall-E?
Staff won't go around this campus
But
without
everybody's
going
on the
far.
Plenty of don't get me started on movies you guys haven't seen. It's terrifying. Okay.
I want to know in regards to, so the fact that he touched on strawberries
Mm-hmm.
makes me think he touched on a lot of other stupid shit and you just cherry picked the ones that make sense. Or did out of all of
I'm
them-
sure he made more predictions, but these are the ones that became true.
Depends on my predictions. Maybe like 100 predictions.
That's what I was
Yeah, absolutely could have, and he's not going to be right with all of them. But from reading about him, these are the ones I know that he made that were accurate.
Don't
Okay.
go down the rabbit hole, man. He's gonna start saying like. Tears
Yeah,
in
it's
the
going to
Heart
get
and
yeah.
stuff.
Nobody bats 1,000.
So like, we're gonna start talking animals.
Maybe we do. Flying cars are good. Okay, so here's what we got into last week, and this is why I wanted to present this to you guys today. Instigating change is hard, right? What I usually talk about in this class is internal change, right? So we started with your strengths, right, in 281. We told you what you were good at. Then we touched on some weaknesses, right, last semester. And now we're trying to figure out why your brain does the stupid shit that it does to not always help yourself, okay? So we unpack that. So usually we look at it from an internal standpoint, but as you guys were talking about the core and instigating change, it is hard. Welcome to the real world, okay? It's going to be the same thing at work, right? In order to instigate change, someone has to start acting differently, including you. If you want to influence your outfit or the core or beyond, you have to act differently if you want to make that change. And that's hard, okay? You must change not only the situation, but their hearts and minds as well. I asked you, I think, before, early in class, if you don't like manual labor and ask you to dig a ditch, you're probably going to say no. If I give you a valid reason and appeal to the emotional side of you, you will probably go do it. I don't care what situation you're in, civilian, military, whatever. You still have to appeal to people's emotional side more than just their rational, right? Hearts and minds disagree. If you don't believe me, then date someone. No, nothing. Okay. It's about you guys have that friend who's dating someone that's terrible for them, and they don't see, and they don't see it. You can't see it, right? You're too close, right? But from the outside, yeah. And if you don't know, then you are that person. Okay. Hearts and minds disagree. Why? We often make it harder than it needs to be. Right. Before we started the willpower instinct, I would use this. It was actually for a different class. Okay. Anybody know who that guy is? First Aggie Yell leader. Just kidding. I just smile. I like that joke. Okay.
Isn't the guy who invented the bench press, some German guy?
No, so this psychologist in it was like 1996, 1998, which is not very long ago, did this study with cookies and radishes. Okay, put you in a room, smells like cookies, see cookies, you want cookies, and I give you radishes, and then I give you a task to do, and you did poorly on it. Versus the other room that got cookies, they did better. Okay, so we learned that willpower is not an unlimited supply, right? This dude has actually done a bunch of tests that are interesting if you're interested in learning more about it, okay? But that's a lot of what's in the willpower instinct, right? So we get into that. Here's how your brain works, okay? If we see ice, we know it's cold, right? If we see fire, we know it's hot. If you're at an Aggie football game in a big crowd and your mom is there and you're walking towards her, you can spot your mom's face pretty easily. You know that it's mom, right? The harder part is the rational side, okay? You have to be deliberate in your decision making. You have to actually take the time to think about something, right? The problem is we don't. The same brain that knows that ice is cold will try to make the hard decisions because it's easier. Our brains are naturally lazy. We will take the shortcut whenever possible. So you have to force it to think if something is more challenging. Right? Hang with me, there's a reason. Here's where we were last week. Has anybody ridden an elephant? Nobody? Okay, cool. Did you?
Yeah.
Where?
I live in Maryland. There's a ren fest there.
Okay. Okay, cool. Caitlin, where are we at?
Like a circus in Gainesville, I was like 6, maybe.
Okay, cool. All right. If you climb on top of an elephant that usually weighs about 6 tons, can you make it go? Why not, Trent?
Listen to you.
Huh?
It's not gonna listen to you.
Yeah. It weighs 6 tons. It's not going to listen to you. All right? Think of an elephant as a bull. Does a bull weigh more than you? Okay? Metaphorically, right? And physically. Okay? If you're trying to get an elephant to go, this is what happens with change. We're trying to instigate change. We are trying to move a 6-ton elephant. If we don't motivate the elephant, there's nothing I can do to move it. I can't push it. I can't pull it. It's not going to go. Right? The other issue is the path. Let's say I can motivate the elephant and I get it going. But the path is unclear. It doesn't know where to go. Then it's going to stop or it's going to be hard to get there. In order to instigate change, you have to motivate the elephant, which means you have to find what will make the elephant go. You have to appeal to the emotional side. Then you have to lay out a very clear path how to get there. This is core, this is work, this is, I don't pick a situation. Okay? Wes was talking about not being able to instigate change. Okay? The bigger the change, the more self-control is required. Right? What looks like a people problem is usually the path. If it's people that aren't on board, then the path isn't clear. We haven't made it clear. Okay, let's make the path clear. Right? What looks like laziness is often exhaustion. You're trying to make change, but you're up against a wall, and it's hard, and it's not happening. Okay? So people are getting tired and frustrated. What looks like resistance is often a lack of clarity. If the writer doesn't come up with a clear path and the motivation, none of you are going to get there. The writer and the elephant aren't going to get there, and the path is not clear. Questions? Does this make sense?
You can always move an elephant another way.
But you have to find the motivation, right? If we want to throw out a mouse and scare it like Dumbo, okay, it didn't go the way we wanted it to, right? It doesn't move in the right direction. We have to find what motivates the elephant. If I get a bag of peanuts and walk out in front of the elephant, then it's going to go, right? And it's going to go where we want it to go. One of the examples I think is like eating healthier, right? We know what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat, right? What do you still go get late at night? God bless ice cream. It's so good. Okay? Worry about you when you graduate. Just going to have buckets of ice cream in the house, right? Yeah, awesome. Okay? Be careful with it, all right? We know how we should eat or what we shouldn't eat, and what do? We make terrible decisions. Why? Why, Wes? Why do we do that? It's easy, right? And it's delicious. Okay? You good back there? You good, Alexander? Okay. What influences our decision making? Yeah. Money? Not in the core. Okay. your terrible boyfriend or girlfriend?
That is the most popular picture.
This is a weird white couple in matching skinny jeans. Okay. And your strangely normal white parents. It can be shocking for some people.
Why did you animate that?
Because I could. For dramatic effect. Okay. Why do our inhibitions go out when we're drinking, assuming you are of age and can drink? Okay. Why, or you've seen other people. Why do your inhibitions go out the window?
Is that liquid courage?
Yeah. Okay. Now, sometimes it can actually be helpful to a little bit of an extent. All right. If you're shy or my wife is very shy and introverted. Okay. So when we go to parties, she's not comfortable. She doesn't like it. Okay. And I will leave and go talk to other people, and she'll get really mad at me. But if she has a couple drinks, she'll loosen up. Okay. Now you can cross the line and go too far, and it doesn't end well for anybody. Right. But it can help you. I did a term abroad in Spain, right? And there was no English in the classes, right? So everything was Spanish. And people who had more Spanish than me could not speak as well, right? And they were shy and quieter. They're afraid they're going to screw up. And right at the end, we go out with our professors, and we're drinking with them, and everybody's yakking away in Spanish. And the professors are like, why haven't you guys been talking before? And I was like, because they were stone cold sober. I'm like, if you get a couple drinks in them, it'll loosen up the tongue, and it actually gets easier. And so then they were like, oh, well, we should have gotten to drinks much earlier. I'm like, I know. Okay?
This sounds fake because I've heard.
You know when classes started every day?
5.
2 or 3. Done by 5 or 6 because that's siesta time. And nobody really naps. You just chill. Everyone goes out and drinks. It was like designed to be like vampire alcoholics, right? A term abroad. Okay? Highly recommend. Behave yourselves. So, okay. Who can change an organization at these levels? Who can change an organization? Yes. Fish, heads, zips, butts. Huh? Not in order? Okay. Anyways, wasn't in the court. Okay. Anybody can change the organization. Anyone within the organization. Okay? All right, one more. We'll finish on this.
So what's this? The taster's choice moment between guys?
This is really nice. You got a thing for swans? Is this like a fetish? It's something like maybe we need to devote some time to?
Thought about what you said to me the other day about my painting. Stayed up half the night thinking about it. Something occurred to me. I fell into a deep, peaceful sleep, and I haven't thought about you since. You know what occurred to me?
No.
You're just a kid. You don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Why, thank you.
It's all right. You've never been out of Boston.
Nope.
If I asked you about art, you'd probably give me the skinny on every art book ever written. Michelangelo. I know a lot about him. Life's work, political aspirations, him and the Pope, sexual orientation, the whole works, right? I bet you can't tell me what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel. You've never actually stood there and looked up at that beautiful ceiling. Seen that? If I ask you about women, you'd probably give me a syllabus of your personal favorites. You may have even been laid a few times. But you can't tell me what it feels like to wake up next to a woman and feel truly happy. You're a tough kid. I ask you about war, you'd probably throw Shakespeare at me, right? Once more into the breach, dear friends. But you've never been near one. You've never held your best friend's head in your lap and watch him gasp his last breath looking to you for help. I ask you about love, you'd probably quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. Could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel. To have that love for her be there forever. Through anything. Through cancer. And you wouldn't know about sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months holding her hand because the doctors could see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you. You don't know about real loss because that only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself. I doubt you've ever dared to love anybody that much. I look at you, I don't see an intelligent, confident man. I see a cocky, scared, shitless kid. But you're a genius, Will. No one denies that. No one could possibly understand the depths of you. But you presume to know everything about me because you saw a painting of mine. You ripped my fucking life apart. You're an orphan, right? Do you think I'd know the first thing about how hard your life has been? How you feel? Who you are? Because I read Oliver Twist. Does that encapsulate you? Personally, I don't give a shit about all that because you know what? I can't learn anything from you. I can't read in some fucking book. Unless you want to talk about you, who you are. Then I'm fascinated. I'm in. But you don't want to do that, do you, Sport? You're terrified of what you might say. You move, Chief.
It's you guys.
I don't have as nice a beard.
All of you are extremely intelligent. Even Trent. All of you have a lot to offer. All of you know things I don't know. All right? But there's a whole big world out there that you haven't experienced. And you've gotten some of it. And you know a lot about it. And you can look up who played third base for the Astros in 1970 on your phone and figure it out in 10 seconds instead of getting in an argument with your friends over a beer. You have the information. You have all the information in the world. That doesn't mean you have the knowledge. That's the difference. Information is bricks. Knowledge is how to build the house. Just recognize that sometimes. Right? You guys are all extremely intelligent people. You all have a lot to offer. But recognize that you don't have all the answers. And in order to make change in yourself and organizations and others, sometimes you're going to have to learn the hard way. And you're going to take a few lumps and you're going to take a few losses. But learn from the loss. And if you win and if you're right and it goes well, learn from that too. Right? And how you carry yourselves. Especially where you guys are right now in the Corps. Did they just select a new Corps commander, right? Recently? Okay. Are they acting differently yet? That's good. Because a lot of people say as soon as someone gets a position of power, they start acting differently. Okay? Hope not, but it can happen. Right? So it'll be interesting to see that in your time left in the Corps. Okay? I will post this week's assignment and let you all know. If you are missing anything, you can submit it for partial credit. Okay? If you're missing assignments, you need to get them in. Okay? I say that all the time, but I feel like nobody hears me. I will take late work. Okay? But you got to get it in. Right? And partial credit is always better than no credit. Make sure your assignments are in. Okay? If I see you have it, even if I'm not caught up on grading, if I see you didn't submit it, I'll give you a 0 just so you know, because maybe you just forgot to submit it. Okay? Go be awesome. Have a wonderful week.